Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting video today on my series on Saturn transits 2017. And today we'll be talking about the Saturn transits for Gemini moon sign people. Now, as you can see on the screen, on the ascendant you see number 3, which represents Gemini, but do not consider it as an ascendant. So this video is only for people whose moon is placed in the Gemini moon sign, or whose moon is placed in where number 3 is written in their natal birth chart. So please do not confuse, do not consider this video if your ascendant is number 3 or Gemini. Because the gocharas, or transits as it's called in Sanskrit, are considered from the moon sign, and when we consider the transits from the ascendants, the rules are different, and both of these rules are from the ancient scriptures. This is not something which is coming from an experience of an astrologer. So whenever a transit occurs, first consider it from the moon sign, as we are, as far as this chart is concerned. As you can see, where Gemini moon sign is going to be considered, and you can see the arrow that Saturn is going to be transiting into its 7th house from the natal moon. Okay, so Saturn transit is extremely important, as we all know, because it's a very long transit. It stays in one zodiac sign for approximately 2.5 years. So we have to understand the impact of the transit and how it's going to affect us, so that we can deal with it accordingly. And then, of course, other things also have to be taken into consideration in case a transit is not very good. Then you have to look at the dashas and the transits of all the other planets as well. So in case a transit of Saturn is not good for you, there may be other planets which could give you some kind of a relief and could balance some of the negative effects of the Saturn transit. And in case you don't have any other transits which are favorable to you, then you can look into the dashas, the periods operating, and if those periods operating are in your favor, then of course many of the difficult effects of Saturn transit can be balanced to a great extent. So as we know that Saturn is transiting into Sagittarius zodiac sign from Scorpio zodiac sign, where it had been for approximately 2.5 years, and this transit is happening on January the 26th, 2017. So normally a transit into a zodiac sign by Saturn is 2.5 years or 30 months, but this time the impact will be felt for 36 months, because Saturn is going to be transiting into Sagittarius from Scorpio on January the 26th, and then it's going to be coming back to Scorpio and then going back to Sagittarius. So this back and forth will continue, which will extend the period of the Saturn transit to approximately 36 months, because finally when Saturn moves from Sagittarius zodiac sign to Capricorn zodiac sign, it is going to be January of 2020. So this period is going to be a 36 months period. And of course, you know, while Saturn is going back and forth, the effects will be different. If it goes back to Scorpio, then of course the same effects are going to be felt as you're feeling while Saturn was in Scorpio for the last 2.5 years. And when it goes back into Sagittarius, then of course the impact will be felt, which we are discussing today for the Gemini moon sign people. Okay, so Saturn was in its 6th house from Gemini, and it's moving to the 7th house. Unfortunately, I don't have great news for you. 7th house transit from the natal moon of the planet Saturn is not a very good and very encouraging transit for you. So you have to be very careful, especially matters relating to business and also any kind of a matter dealing with your spouse that has to be taken into consideration, and one has to be extremely careful, cautious, try to maintain cordial relationships with the business partner, with your spouse. And also health matters also have to be taken into consideration, where it is moving into the 7th house is not a good house. It's considered a Maraka Sthana. From the moon, it is not considered a Maraka Sthana. It is considered a Maraka Sthana from the ascendant, but in this case 7th from the moon is also going to have an impact as far as transits are concerned, as far as your health is concerned. So it may affect your health to a great extent. Also, in matters of long distance travels, one has to be very careful. Pilgrimages, one has to be very, very careful. And any kind of a relationship with your parents can also take a backseat, especially with your father. Okay, because this transit into the 7th house is going to be looking at the 9th house. So you know, any kind of a higher education, you know, that also can take a back seat. So this area, especially well, as per the scriptures, pretty much all areas are going to be affected adversely when Saturn transits into the 7th house from moon, but more specifically the 7th house, the 9th house, which relates to the father, especially in higher education and pilgrimages and long distance travels. That also has to be taken into consideration. Again, I've also discussed that since it is sitting in a Maraka, or a Maraka Sthana rather, from the moon, like I said, 7th from the ascendant as per the natal chart is considered the Maraka Sthana, but 7th from the moon in a transit also is considered to be kind of giving Maraka capabilities to Saturn. It is so believed when transits come and when Saturn moves into 7th house from the moon, and it's going to be looking directly at your moon sign. So once again, you know, there could be health issues, there could be problems related to your emotions, your mental peace, because it's looking directly at your moon sign. That also has to be taken into consideration. So it's like a major impact as far as you know, its aspect directly into the moon is concerned, natal moon is concerned in this transit. So one has to be very balanced in all these matters, and one has to exercise extreme caution in terms of health, in terms of business, in terms of relationship with father, in terms of relationship with other family members, in terms of money matters. Okay, so it's not as bad as a transit as it is for the Taurus moon sign people, because for Taurus moon sign people, it is going into their 8th house from moon when it moves into Sagittarius. That is a real tough time. That is Ashtak Shani, or Adhaya, some people call it. So you know, it's not as bad, but then again, this is not a great transit either. And like I've mentioned earlier, you know, do not get discouraged. Look at your transits of other planets as well. If they are favorable, many of these negative effects are going to be balanced to a great extent. Also, in case your dashas or operating periods are running okay, then many of the inauspicious effects of this Saturn transit for Gemini moon sign people can be balanced to a great extent as well. And as far as remedies are concerned, please consult an expert Vedic scholar or astrologer. Do not perform general remedies, as you can see on the internet. They may not help you much, or they may give you reverse effects as well, sometimes in extreme cases. So I will recommend, you know, do it under the guidance of an expert Vedic scholar or astrologer. So in the meanwhile, I wish you good luck, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.